Gaura Premanande. Namaste Narasimhaya. Namaste Narasimhaya. Pralanavadadayone. Hiranyakashikorvakshaha. Shivatankanakalaye. Ito Nrisimha Parato Nrisimha. Yato Yato Yamitato Nrisimha. Bahir Nrisimha Hridaye Nrisimha. Nrisimha Vadim Sharanam Prapade. Tavakaratambalavare Nakamamruta Sringa Dalita Hiranyakashipu Talubringa Yeshavadrita Naradi Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare. Keshavadita Naradi Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare. Jaya Nrisimha Dev, Jaya Nrisimha Dev, Jaya Nrisimha Dev, Jaya Nrisimha Dev. Jai Prahlad Maharaj, Jai Prahlad Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, Jai Prahlad Maharaj. Jai Prahlad Nrisimha, Jai Prahlad Nrisimha, Jai Prahlad Nrisimha, Jai Prahlad Nrisimha. Jaya Lakshmi Nrisimha, Jaya Nrisimha, Jaya Lakshmi Nrisimha, Jaya Nrisimha. Jaya Jaya Nrisimha, 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 Jaya Jaya Nrisimha. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva. Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Dev Bhagavan Prahlad Maharaj ki Jai. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Raja Janaranjana. Yashodanandana Raja Janaranjana. Yamuna Tira Jari. Yamuna Tira Jari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Raja Janaranjana. Yashodanandana Raja Janaranjana. Yamuna Tira Jari. Yamuna Tira Jari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Shri Gaur Nitai ki Jai, Giriraj Maharaj ki Jai, Shri Prabhupada ki Jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki Jai, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai, Gaur Premanande. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Книга Кришна, Верховная Личность Бога.
Krishna book,
Глава 37.
chapter 37,
Смерть демонов Кеши и Вьомасуры.
killing the Keshi demon and Vyomasura.
упоминалось в предыдущей главе, что Камса послал Кеши.
In last chapter, it was mentioned that Kamsa has sent Keshi demon to Vrindavana. He sent him for death because he understood that all the demons before him were killed. But at the same time he called for Akrura and he gave him a task to bring Krishna from Vrindavana to Mathura. Kamsa had some inner feeling. Well, this chapter describes in detail how the Keshi demon was killed. After being instructed by Kamsa, the demon Keshi assumed the form of a terrible horse. He entered the area of Vrindavana with the speed of the mind, his great mane flying and his hooves digging up the earth. He began to whine and terrify the whole forest. Krishna saw that the demon was terrifying all the residents of Vrindavana with his whining and his tail wheeling in the sky like a big cloud. Krishna could understand that the horse was challenging him to fight. The Lord accepted his challenge and stood before the Keshi demon, calling him to fight. The horse then... So in this case, the demon assumed such a form. Well, demons are related to certain living beings. Well, demons can transform into some warrior form. We saw the demons in the form of bull, in the form of cart. Yes, they can transform. Yes. Well, we call them somehow in our life. There is a word. His first task is to thrill everybody. The one who is not thrilled, who is not afraid, is the biggest enemy. That's how he knows who are his enemies and who are his not enemies. Yes. In this case, the demon has turned into a big horse. Prabhupada used to say that horse is the most beautiful animal. So Krishna, he understood that this demon, being so rude, thrilling everybody, terrifying everybody, understood that was a demon. Keshi rushed toward the Lord with great speed and tried to trample him with his legs, which were strong, forceful, and as hard as stone. Can you imagine?
Летела на Господа, стремясь затоптать его своими могучими и твердыми, как камни, копытами. Вот он развил такие ситхи. Вообще-то живое существо может развить такие ситхи с определенными поступками и войти в какое-то тело. Тело лошади, тело собаки.
So, living being can develop such siddhas and then get into somebody, the body of an animal or some person. So that is how it works. Krishna, however, immediately caught hold of his legs and thus baffled him. Krishna was somewhat angry and thus he began to whirl the horse around. After a few rounds, he contemptuously threw him 100 yards away, just as Garuda throws a big snake. Thrown by Krishna, the horse immediately passed out. But after a little while, he regained consciousness and with great anger and force again rushed toward Krishna with his mouth open. As soon as Keshi reached him, Krishna pushed his left arm within the horse's mouth, and it looked as though a big snake had entered a hole in a field. The horse felt great pain because Krishna's arm felt to him like a hot iron rod. Immediately his teeth fell out. It's a dreadful death. You can see that. Can you imagine that? Why are you so silent? If you could have imagined that, you would have run away already. Krishna's arm within the mouth of the horse at once began to expand. The Kesha's throat choked up. As the great horse suffocated, perspiration appeared on his body, and he threw his legs hither and thither. As his last breath came, his eyeballs bulged in their sockets, and he passed stool and urine simultaneously. It's very similar to the death of Arishtasura. That's almost the same. Krishna also whirled him around. He also... Well, but Arishtasura had his horns. Krishna took him by horns. Well, when Krishna had thrown him away for 100 steps, he just passed out. But Arishtasura, he died because of whirling. Although Krishna had to spin him a couple of times. But Kesha had different death. It was different kind of demon. If demon was clever, he would understand that Krishna is too strong for him. Well, some boy just calls him to fight, invites him to fight, and he's so strong that he whirls him around, taking him by his legs, and then throws him away just like that. He could have understood that. Why couldn't he do that? Why didn't he? Bhagavad Gita explains that anger covers our conscience. This anger, this force that is destroying, it destroys not only some objects, some living beings, but it also destroys the source. It's like a fire. It can burn everything, but it also burns the fuel it comes from. Well, anger should be used in terms of dharma. As his last breath came, thus the vital force of his life expired. When the horse was dead, his mouth became loose, and Krishna could extract his arm without difficulty. He did not feel any surprise that the Kesha demon was killed so easily, but the demigods in the sky were amazed. Here there is no such explanation. Why were demigods amazed by this killing? But in Puranas, there are more detailed descriptions. Well, demigods are afraid of demons, and Kamsa is the main of them. Those demons, they also performed austerities in their previous lives. So the demigods, they were afraid of the demons. And for demons, for demigods, it was impossible to kill Kesha demon. But for Krishna it was so easy, he just put his arm into his mouth and that's it. So they started to glorify him. And out of their great and appreciation, they offered Krishna greetings, by showering flowers. After this incident, Narada Muni, the greatest of all devotees, came to see Krishna in a solitary place and began to talk to him. My dear Lord Krishna, he said, you are the unlimited Super Soul, the Supreme Controller of all mystic powers, the Lord of the whole universe, the all-pervading personality of Godhead. You are the resting place of the cosmic manifestation, the Master of all the devotees and the Lord of everyone. My dear Lord, as the Super Soul of all living entities, you remain concealed within their hearts, exactly as fire remains concealed in every piece of fuel. It seems to us that we have Super Soul inside our heart. But it is described. But that heart is on the other side. But on the other hand, Super Soul exists everywhere. It's all penetrating. What does it mean? That we all are inside the Super Soul. Do you remember how Krishna showed his universal form in his mouth? Well, he is the basis of everything. He penetrates everything, he controls everything, he watches everything. There is the vice versa look. It is, but it is common to us to think that Krishna is inside me. Well, in some sense, yes. If I think that I am this body, but if I think that I am a soul, I am within Krishna. You are the witness of all the activities of all the living entities, and you are the supreme controller within their hearts. You are self-sufficient. Before the creation you existed, and by your energy you have created all the material elements. According to your perfect plan, this material world is created by the interaction of the modes of nature, and by you it is maintained and annihilated. Although you are unaffected by all these activities, you are the supreme controller eternally. My dear Lord, you have advented yourself on the surface of this earth just to kill all the so-called kings who are actually demons. These hobgoblins are cheating people in the dress of the princely order. You have advented yourself to fulfill your own statement, and you come within this material world just to protect the principles of religion and annihilate unwanted miscreants. My dear Lord, I am therefore sure that the day after tomorrow I shall see demons like Chanuka, Mushtika, and the other wrestlers and elephants, as well as Kamsa himself killed by you. I shall see this with my own eyes. After this, I shall be able to see the killing of other demons like Shanka, Yavanamura, and Narakasura. I shall also see how you take away the Parijata flower from the kingdom of heaven and how you defeat the king of heaven himself. Narada knows already. Here he says that I will see with my own eyes all of these events. I know that, but I want to see all of that. We know that Krishna kills demons. But why do we want to see it? Why? Because he's all attractive? It's not something material. Our thrive for spiritual arises to hear, to see. A decent soul can see. Soul that trembles at the very thought of it. That at least once on this way I have a possibility to see him, I will see him. Akrura was a soul of the same kind. He had that feeling before coming to Vrindavan. But here we have Narada, and he knows everything, he knows the future. He sees all these leelas. But it's not sufficient. So he tells Krishna that he cannot wait for that he wants so much to see them. So Narada participated to some extent in these events. He speeded them up. Why? Because he had that great desire to see those leelas. Sometimes materialistic people cannot understand why did he push Kamsa to such events, to killing the children and everything. But in fact, all the Devaki's children were killed because of their former deeds. So later it turns out that Narada didn't break any law. He remains transcendental and his karma isn't hurt. He is a supernatural being. Why? Because he loves Krishna very much. He's in the purest state of mind and so. He's not contaminated by jnana, he's not contaminated by the desire to control. He wanted only one thing, to see Krishna. And that was the reason of his deeds. My dear Lord, Narada Muni continued, I shall then be able to see how you marry princesses, the daughters of chivalrous kings, by paying the price of Kshatriya strength. Whenever a Kshatriya wants to marry a very beautiful and qualified daughter of a great king, he must fight his competitors and emerge victorious. Then he is given the hand of the princess in charity. Yes, that is called Sayambara. Prabhupada explains that that is for Kshatriyas. I shall also see how you saved King Nriga from the hellish condition, said Narada Muni. This you shall enact in Dvaraka. I shall also be able to see how you get your wife and the Syamantaka jewel, and how you save the son of a Brahmana from death after he has already been transferred to another planet. After this, I will be able to see you kill the Paundraka demon and burn to ashes the kingdom of Kashya. I will see how you kill the king of Cheri at Dantavakra during the great sacrifice of Maharaja Yudhishthira. Besides all this, it will be during besides all this, it will be possible for me to see many other chivalrous activities while you remain in Dvaraka. Naraka enumerates what Krishna is going to do. That is predestined. That is predestined because all of the personalities are already on stage. And all the relationship are already there. So, by relationship, we can understand the future. Because of the illusion, we may think that, oh, I have something bad, some bad relationship in there, doesn't matter. No. No. There is always a reaction for your deeds. So we have to follow, to watch relationship with the surroundings, and not only with people, but also with plants. Don't think that it's just a simple plant on your windowsill. You have a relationship with it. This relationship is the possibility to serve. Or karma. If we avoid relationship, we don't plant a tree, we don't bring up children, don't develop relationship, then we get karma. We get some debt. We are in debt before Mother Nature. These are the laws of karma. People live in cities, they cannot even breathe fresh air. Well, here Narada, he sees all of that. Narada can see and understand any living being. He can just think of this living being and he sees it. It's like the TV inside. He can just turn on some channel and see. Let's have a look. Is that Almaty? He will understand everything about all the devotees. Although perhaps because we speak today about him, he already watches all of you. We don't know, but he can see that because we talk about it today. Krishna hears us when we read Krishna book. Especially when we read chapter 37 as today. Yes. Not only Narada can see such events. Because these events are not karma anymore. There is nothing amazing in watching karma. Nothing special. It's just cruel and boring. We see karma in so many TV series today. But here is something different. Krishna, when he burns down the Kashi kingdom, or when he kills any of the demons, the meaning is different. And Narada says that he wants to see that. Because you don't kill, you don't burn, you just purify everything. Everything becomes perfect, whatever you do. Your deeds are not material, they are superficial, they are transcendental. The one who sees that is not born in the material world anymore, will not be born. Here, what is described here. Why Narada is so thirsty for seeing these deeds. Even Krishna's words liberate soul. What can we say about his deeds?
Ты станешь колесничим своего друга Арджуны, и в облике вечного времени, непобедимого воплощения смерти убьешь всех собравшихся там воинов.
At the Battle of Kurukshetra you will take part as the chariot driver of your friend Arjuna and as the invincible death incarnation. Eternal incarnation chariot, eternal time, you will vanquish the belligerents assembled there. I shall see a large number of military forces killed on that battlefield. My lord, let me offer my respectful obeisances unto your lotus feet. You are situated completely in the transcendental position in perfect knowledge and bliss. You are complete in fulfilling all your desires by exhibiting your internal potency. You have set up the influence of Maya. Your unlimited potency cannot even be measured by anyone. What is the peak of that power? We see some power in this world, in people, in natural forces. How can we understand what is the peak of power? Here is the power of the planet Earth, the potency. It can produce the products. It is our foundation, it's our basis. It supports people for millions, thousands, millions of years. But what is the highest potency? In destroying, in creating, or in withholding? We know that to withhold is the most difficult thing. It's very easy to create marriage, to get married. It's so pleasant and interesting. And you get the key to your apartment as a present. But it is difficult to live afterwards. It's difficult. So what is the potency of Krishna is that he supports even those who he kills. He is higher than withholding and creating. He's the peak of everything. It's so difficult to understand how close we are to him. Our link with him. Why? Because living beings get unlimited benefit from him. Even when he burns down the cities, the highest virtue we get because of that. Krishna is the source of eternity. There is no destruction, in fact. You have taken birth in the Yadu dynasty or the Krishna dynasty. Your advent on the surface of the earth in your original form of eternal blissful knowledge is your own pastime. You are not dependent on anything but yourself. Therefore, I offer my respectful obeisances unto your lotus feet. After offering his respectful obeisances to Lord Krishna, Narada Muni took permission to left and left. Usually bhakti is not expressed in philosophical terms, because jnana is lower than bhakti. How can we then express bhakti? That's how Narada expresses bhakti. He just describes Krishna's leelas. So here is everything: jnana, yoga, all the potency. So these actions, these deeds, they remind us of some human deeds. But Narada never speaks about usual deeds, human deeds. After offering his respectful obeisances to Lord Krishna, Narada Muni took permission and left. Well, he told everything that was on his heart, in his heart, and then he left easily. He has full freedom. He doesn't tell Krishna wherever he goes. He can go wherever he wants. He has full freedom. Narada Muni wanted to impress upon people in general that Krishna is fully independent. His activities, such as his appearance in the family of Yadu or his friendship with Arjuna, do not necessarily oblige him to act to enjoy their results. They are all pastimes, and for him they are all play. But for us they are actual, tangible facts. After he had killed the Keshi demon, Krishna returned to tending the cows with his friends in the forest as though nothing had happened. As though nothing had happened. Well, now tell me, what happens when a person has to kill somebody? He worries, of course, has to calm down. He has to stay alone for a week at least. It's such a passion. But what Krishna did, he just returned to his cows and friends. He enjoys the killing and the other pastimes in the same to the same
Так
extent.
Кришна являет во Вриндаване свои вечные божественные
Thus,
игры
Krishna is
вместе с
eternally
друзьями,
engaged in his
мальчиками,
transcendental
пастушками и
activities in
гопи.
Vrindavan
Однако время
with
от
his
времени он
friends,
убивает
the coward
демонов,
boys and gopis, but
демонстрируя
sometimes he
и свое
exhibits
могущество,
extraordinary
могущество Верховной Личности Бога.
prowess of the Supreme
Позднее, в
Personality of
то же
Godhead
утро,
by killing different types of
Кришна со своими
demons.
друзьями отправился на
Later
вершину
that
холма
morning,
Гавардхан.
Krishna went to play with his coward
Там они
boyfriends on
начали
the top
играть
of Govardhana hill.
сторожей и воров.
They were imitating the play of
Интересно,
thieves
что за
and
игра?
police.
Надо разузнать подробно.
Yeah, it's an interesting game. We have to get to know
Сторожа
what's it
и воры.
about.
Значит, воры должны воровать, сторожа не
So,
должны
thieves
допускать этого.
and police. So thieves have to.
Одни мальчики были сторожами, другие изображали воров, а третьи
Yes, some of the boys became police constables, and some became thieves, and some took the role
ягнят
of
должны
clowns.
воровать, а сторожа должны охранять. Пока они предавались этой забаве,
While they were thus
среди них
enjoying their
появился демон
childhood
по имени
pastimes, a
Вьомасура,
demon known
или
by
демон,
the name
летающий
of
в небесах.
Vyomasura, the
Он
demon
был
who
сыном
flies in the
другого
sky,
могучего
he
демона
appeared
по
on the
имени
scene.
Майя.
He was the son of another
Демоны
great
способны
demon
творить
named
разные
Maya.
чудеса.
These
Вьомасура принял
demons can
облик
perform wonderful magic.
пастушка,
Vyomasura
играющего
took
роль
the part of a
вора,
coward boy,
и
playing
утащил
as a
много
thief,
мальчиков
and
и
stole
ягнят.
many boys who were playing the
Одного
parts
за
of
другим он
lambs.
украл почти
One
всех
after
пастушков
another,
и
he
спрятал
took
их в
away
пещерах,
almost all the boys
а
and
входы
put them in
туда
the caves of the
завалил
mountain
камнями.
and sealed the
Однако
mouths
Кришна
of
разгадал
the
уловку
caves with
демона и схватил
stones.
его, подобно
Krishna could
тому, как
understand
лев
the
хватает
trick the
волка.
demon was playing, therefore he caught
Но
hold
лев
of
не
him
проиграл.
exactly as a lion catches
Лев
hold of a
волк.
lamb.
Интересно.
It's very interesting.
Стараясь вырваться, демон сделался огромным,
The demon
как
tried to
гора.
expand himself like a hill
Но
to
Кришна не дал
escape
ему
arrest, but
выходить.
Krishna didn't allow him
Сокрушительной
to
силой
get
он
out
бросил
of his
демона
clutches.
озимь,
He was
убил его,
immediately thrown to the
так же, как
ground
убивали
with
редких
great force
животных.
and killed, just as an
Расправившись с
animal is
Вьомасурой,
killed
Господь
in the
Кришна
slaughterhouse.
выпустил всех своих друзей из пещер.
After killing
Когда
the
друзья
Vyoma
Кришны
demon,
полубоги
with
стали
Krishna
славить
released
его
all his
чудесными
friends from the
подвигами.
caves of the mountain. He
После
was
этого
then
Кришна
praised
вместе
by
с
his
своими
friends
друзьями
and
и
by
коровами
the
вернулся
demigods
во
for
Вриндаван.
these wonderful acts. He again
Так
returned to
книга
Vrindavana with
Бхактивиданта
his
Кришна
cows and
Верховной Личности
friends.
Бога заканчивается
Thus
глава
ends the
32
Bhaktivedanta purport of the
смерть демона Кеши и
37th chapter of
Вьомасуры.
Krishna, killing the Kashi demon and Vyomasura.
Вот. Но следующая глава, она
Next
трагическая.
chapter is tragic.
Мы немножко упоминали об этом
We
явлении,
have mentioned it a
потому
little
что
bit.
Акрур уже послан был в Вриндаван,
Because the
чтобы
Krura, he was
Кришне
sent to Vrindavana already.
преданный Кришне
He's Krishna's devotee,
на службе у Камса. Вот,
serving Kamsa. Here is the
вот здесь в Бхагавата можно увидеть разные обстоятельства,
strange situation. In
в
Bhagavatam, we
которых
can see
совершается преданное служение.
different circumstances in which devotional service can be
Например,
performed. For example,
если говорить о карма-йоге,
if we
гьяна-йоге,
talk about
аштанга-йоге,
karma
там
yoga, jnana yoga,
строжайшие должны быть условия соблюдены. Для
Hmm.
выполнения этой йоги.
the conditions should be
Строжайшие правила, предписания, установлены. Особенно аштанга-йога, там
Withhold.
место, там много тонких.
followed. Ashtanga yoga
Гьяна-йога,
especially.
целибат должен быть.
Jnana yoga, for example, person should
Пожизненный, чтобы проникать
stay virgin
мыслями
for the whole
в
life,
абсолютную истину.
to be able to penetrate with his
Карма-йога, там
thoughts
должны быть
into
пожертвования, там должны
different
быть правила,
spiritual
нравственные, честные,
matters.
это как трудиться,
Karma yoga, we have to be honest, to
строго
perform our
следовать своей
duties,
природе.
to follow our
Бхакти.
nature strictly.
Что такое?
Bhakti yoga, what is that?
При любых обстоятельствах.
It can be
Совмещаются многие
performed
члены,
in
как
any
это,
circumstances.
служит Камсе, они друзья.
Well, Akrura serves
Камсе раскрыл
Kamsa.
все свои планы.
They are friends. Kamsa
То, что
told him all
идешь
of
к
his
Кришне, он
plans.
убьет.
He told him, you just bring Krishna here, I will kill him here. He told him everything.
И Акрура по-дружески ему сказал, ну,
Akrura
хороший
says,
план.
tells him as a friend,
Я
it's a
всегда разумен царь.
you are so
Ну, вот сбудутся
intelligent,
твои планы или нет,
dear king.
посмотрим.
But we'll see if your plans will come true.
Увидим.
We'll see.
Так он уклончиво ответил. По-дружески.
That was his
Возбуждая
answer,
Камса.
friendly
Приводил
answer.
его в гнев.
He didn't want to
Вот, удивительно,
make
что
Kamsa
преданным
angry.
приходится да, служить демонам,
Well, sometimes devotees have to serve demons.
а там демон. Например, его предприятие работает.
For example, you need to get a job.
И вы друзья с ним.
There is a demon, and
Но вы
you
преданные,
are
а он
friends
не
with him, but you are devotee
Вот
and
такие
he's not.
обстоятельства бывают.
These are the
Прохлад
circumstances.
Махарадж
Prahlada Maharaja,
служил при очень сложных обстоятельствах.
he served in very difficult conditions.
Бхишмадев
Bhishma
невероятно
Deva
сложные обстоятельства.
served in extraordinarily difficult circumstances. But he had to serve for the whole life. He had to fight against Krishna's friends. Dronacharya is the same. Dhritarashtra, even Dhritarashtra, all of them are Krishna's devotees. But in the end of his life, Dhritarashtra reached perfection. Shishupala. He scoundreled Krishna for all of his life. And he got liberated. Now you see what Bhakti Yoga is. So Kamsa thought about Krishna. He was thinking about him for all of his life and he got liberated. Very unusual situation is described in these chapters. So, who is Akrura? We have to penetrate into the mystery of this personality. If we understand these things, we'll be able to perform our service in any circumstances, even in hell. This is called Mahajana. Bhishmadev, Prahlada Maharaja, Narada Muni, they all Mahajanas. 4 Kumaras. It is described they can serve Krishna in any circumstances. So Prabhupada was the same. He could perform his services not in Vrindavana, India, and in the West, in the Western world. Akrura's arrival in Vrindavana, chapter 38, will start later. Narada Muni didn't mention Krishna's killing Vyomasura, which means that... Yes, we just read about Vyomasura, but Narada hadn't told us. Which means that he was killed on the same day as the Kashi demon. At the same time, the Kashi demon was killed in the early morning, and after that the boys went to tend the cows on Govardhana hill, and it was there that Vyomasura was killed. Both demons were killed in the morning. Akrura was requested by Kamsa to arrive in Vrindavana by evening. After receiving instruction from Kamsa, Akrura started the next morning via chariot for Vrindavana. So in the morning he left, and by evening he was already in Vrindavan. Here by Vrindavan, Nandagram may be meant by the Govardhan. This is Govardhan. Well, from Mathura to Govardhan. He left in the morning, and in the evening he was already there. After receiving instruction from Kamsa, Akrura started the next morning. Because Akrura himself was a great devotee of the Lord, while going to Vrindavana, he began to pray to the Lord. What Akrura was thinking about? He was thinking about Krishna's eyes, the object of meditation. This meditation can last forever. These are Krishna's eyes. He didn't know what sort of pious activities he must have performed to gain an opportunity to go see Lord Krishna and Lord Balarama in Vrindavana on that day. A pure Vaishnava always thinks himself unfit to serve Krishna, so Akrura began to think within himself that he was unfit for gaining the transcendental opportunity of seeing the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He considered himself as unfit for seeing Krishna as a materialistic person is for understanding the science of God, or as a fourth-class person, a Shudra, is for studying the Vedas. But then Akrura began to think, By the grace of Krishna, everything is possible, and thus, if he likes, I will be able to see him. Just as a blade of grass floating on the waves of a river may by chance come near the shore and gain shelter, a conditioned soul carried away by the waves of material existence may sometimes be saved by the grace of Krishna. Krura thus thought that if Krishna willed, he would be able to see him. Krura considered himself most fortunate that he was going to see Krishna, whom great mystic yogis desired to see. He was confident that on the day all the sinful actions of his past life would be finished and his fortunate human form of life would be successful. Krura also considered that he was very much favored by Kamsa, who was sending him to bring back Krishna to Balarama, and thus enabling him to see the Lord. Krura continued to consider that from the great sages, a saintly person, were liberated from the material world simply by saying the saintly names of the lotus feet of Krishna. He was a devotee. So, Akrura had such a fortune to be born in a human body, and he thought that he was contaminated by his service to a demon. It's not very good for you. Now people are ready to perform any job just to be paid. They can perform they just perform their duties, but their master, he can be very sinful. But people are ready to everything just to earn money. My father, just to pull our family out of poverty, he started to work as a driver, and he had to move the radioactive waste. He was ready to do that.
Акрура знал, что в былые времена великие мудрецы и святые освобождались из рабства в материальном мире, стоило им увидеть сияние, исходящее от ногтей на лотосных стопах Господа. Кришна, представьте, он был полностью в этот экстаз погружен.
He was fully absorbed by that nectar.
Что ему предстоит вот-вот увидеть.
That he was about to see Krishna. He has never seen him before. And Kamsa was kind of instrument in Krishna's arms. So Akrura didn't consider himself good enough, decent enough to go and see Krishna, but Kamsa ordered him.
Уже зовет меня через Камсу, через эти события, поэтому он был настолько взбудоражен.
That's how he felt that it seems like Lord calls me.
Одна серьезная неприятность получилась, когда он приехал. Он не почувствует настроение.
There was only one bad thing when he came to Vrindavan. He couldn't understand Gopi's mood. You are not a Krura, you are not a devotee, they said, the Gopis would say to him. He would understand Gopi's curse, he would receive Gopi's curse. So on one hand, this is the irony that on one hand we are in ecstasy and on the other hand we are blind. So that is the lesson, that we should serve Vaishnavas, not Krishna, not to commit these mistakes as a The Supreme Personality of Godhead has now come just like an ordinary human being, and it is my great fortune to be able to see him face to face. He was thrilled with expectations of seeing the very lotus feet, which are worshipped by great demigods like Brahma, Narada, and Lord Shiva, which traverse the ground of Vrindavana and which touch the breasts of the gopis covered with tinges of kumkuma. He thought, I am so fortunate that I will be able to see those very lotus feet on this day, and certainly I shall be able to see the beautiful face of Krishna, which is marked on the forehead and the nose with tilaka. And I shall also see his smile and his curling black hair. I can be sure of this opportunity because I see that today the deer are passing on my right side. Today it will be possible for me to actually see the beauty of the spiritual kingdom of Vishnu Loka, because Krishna is the Supreme Vishnu and he has advented himself out of his own goodwill. Well, he has this, he is thinking about Krishna and he sees deers. Wherefore do those deers come? He has Krishna, Akrura has Krishna in his heart, and so do deers. They also have Krishna in his heart, in their hearts. It's also Krishna's consciousness to understand some signs. It's not very reasonable to be concentrated on those signs. But there is such a science.
Акрура не сомневался, что Господь Кришна – это верховный и изначальный Вишну, который, окинув взглядом материальную природу, творит
Akrura knew beyond a doubt that Lord Krishna is the Supreme Vishnu. Lord Vishnu glances over the material energy, and thus the cosmic manifestation comes into being. And although that Vishnu is the creator of this material world, he is free by his own energy from the influence of the material energy. By his eternal potency, he can pierce the darkness of the material energy.
Та же самая внутренняя энергия, которой Кришна является, на Галоке Вриндаване действует и в земном Вриндаване, где Кришна.
The same internal potency Krishna exhibits in Galoka Vrindavana is exhibited in the earthly Vrindavana, where he enjoys himself with his parents and in the company of his friends, the cowherd boys and gopis. By the statement of Akrura, it is clear that since Krishna is transcendental to the modes of material nature, the inhabitants of Vrindavana, who are always engaged in loving service to the Lord, are also transcendental. So, Akrura has got into Vrindavana. It doesn't matter if that's earthly Vrindavana or not. It's more the question of Krishna consciousness than geographical question. We go to Vrindavana to develop our Krishna consciousness, to feel Krishna's presence in Vrindavana. Because these inhabitants of Vrindavana are created by his internal energy. All of them, they have inborn link with Krishna. They are not taught in school about that. Once I asked one of Vrajabasi, wherefore does your practice come if nobody never teaches anybody about that? They don't learn Srimad Bhagavatam in schools. He said that we just got it from our parents. We were invited by one Vrajabasi family to visit. They call Krishna Takuchi. He's real for them. It's not the object of faith. They don't live without him. That's why we go to Vrindavana, to feel Krishna's presence, because Krishna can be present in different ways. There are so many ways how you can feel Krishna's presence. Prabhupada says it's very difficult to see with your eyes. Well, Prabhupada says through deities, one of the ways. But with the eyes of love, through devotional service, deities become alive. Deities are Krishna. Krishna can do anything. He can manifest himself whatever he wants. Nobody can forget him. The service is never stopped for him. So, in Radharaman's temple, once we were there, and the Pujari there, the Radharamana Pujari once, he spoke Russian to us. He said that he used to learn Russian and he wanted to leave, but nothing worked and he had to come back. So whatever your relationship are with Krishna, this relationship are eternal. It can never be broken. Vrindavan remains Vrindavana generation after generation. They used to have Muslim attacks. They used to just destroyed all of the Vrindavana, but deities manifest themselves again. Now it's such a big city with skyscrapers and whatever is going to be created there. But in fact, Vrindavana is just a forest. And a devotee who has these eyes of love, he sees forest there. Krishna stays in Vrindavana all the time. Here is Akrura, and he has got into Vrindavana, and he understands that because he's a pure devotee. His feelings are mixed because he is a servant of Kamsa, just as Bhishma used to have such feelings. Of course, while living in Kamsa's palace, he has the lack of good society. So, but Akrura's story will show us the success of his life. Well, here, a devotee is glorified when he can stay devotee, even when serving a demon. Do you have any questions? I miss Vrindavana's dust. Tell me please, if devotional service is the same. Vrindavana's dust is a pure devotee. Meditate on pure devotees. It washes away all of the bad things, all of the sins. It purifies just as Vrindavana's dust. Is Maya, material energy, a personality? You've remarked that. Very good. Me too, I also remarked that. If you become clever, Maya keeps up with you. If you become sannyasi, Maya is still there. It won't take a look at our successes. It's perfect. She's perfect servant of Krishna, and her service is very unthankful, just as a chorus. She has to keep us in illusion, and she has to put us obstacles on our way of devotional service. This is her service. But she's perfect. That's why she will check us in the form of material desires, in the form of our sincerity, until we get purified, until Krishna says that's enough. Well, devotional service to Krishna can save us. I don't know other ways. If you want to be saved from Maya, this is already Maya. If you want to surrender to Krishna, this is where there is no Maya. What is an ecstasy? What is an expansion? What is Krishna's expansion? Krishna's expansion. Everything is Krishna's expansion. There are just different levels of these expansions. There are Swamshi, his personal expansions, Vipinamshi, his parts, living human beings. On the higher level, it is correct, because feelings are spiritual on the higher level. On the higher level, they are the same. Mind and common sense and senses, these all are the same. Pure devotee can compare everything with himself, but until he is still pure, he has to check his feelings. That is what that is described. It's dream. Influences us. That's why we feel in the mode of ignorance before we read japa, before chant japa. We spend a couple of hours in ignorance, under the influence of ignorance. Not all of you stay in ignorance in your sleep. Some are just under the influence. A couple of hours a day. That's why we have to wash, to clean our mind. Not only our body gets contaminated, but our body as well. If you sleep longer than than you should, your mind becomes agitated. The desire not to chant japa appears, although yesterday you were in ecstasy. If you sleep too long, your lower desires get stronger. If you sleep the right amount of hours, nothing like that will happen. You make an effort to get up, but right in a minute you will feel that bliss in your heart. It's the same with food. Job and your time off, everything should be regulated. How can we meet Krishna? We have to meet devotees at first, and then we can feel the separation. At first, we listen about Krishna as a Guru did. He was in Mathura and he used to listen about Krishna. All of the Mathura heard about Krishna. Vrindavan is not so far away. When Krishna comes into Mathura, everybody will speak about that. They used to hear about him, and all these gossips about Krishna's coming were spread, and then they saw him. It's the same with the Holy Land. If we just want to see, we'll see just trees, stones, and difficult things. But when we want to hear, we'll see differently. We cannot see something with our eyes, but we can hear it. This is the only mode to feel that connection, to feel that link. As soon as that connection is there, we have desire to see him. The state of separation appears. When will I see him? I have heard of him so many times. When will I see that? Nitai Mangla wants to contact Ikshvaku Maharaj. Well, he has to become some important person. I don't know. Maybe his desire will come true. I don't know. But I don't know what to tell you. I don't know where Ikshvaku Maharaj is. You ask Krishna. Maybe you'll see something like that in your life. Parvatamuni is not mentioned in the books we read of, but he is mentioned in Mahabharata, in other Puranas. There are 18 Puranas. We read only one of them, Bhagavata Purana. Or the best of the Puranas. There are different kind of Puranas, and all the sages are described in there. So somehow he didn't get into Srimad Bhagavatam pages in details. They are friends with Narada. They are on the same spiritual level. That's all I know. Well, since they're friends, and you tell me who is your friend, and I'll tell you who you are, that means they are something common. Humility will come when all the anarthas will go away. But you want vice versa. You want to become humble before you get rid of your anarthas. No, you have to understand humility in the correct way. Prabhupada used to say that you have to know two things. And not only be humble. Be like a lion when you're hunting. Common sense has to prevail. Common sense means that I accept everything that is good for my Krishna consciousness. The question is how to serve Vaishnavas. Vaishnavas don't need anything, just a little bit of prasadam. Yes, just cook prasadam and give it to devotees. If you cook well, they will come. And if they come, they will start to sing and chant loudly. And then the police may come and they may break your furniture in ecstasy. But they will chant Hare Krishna, read the Bhagavad Gita, think of worshipping Krishna. So it is recommended for Vaishnavas to clean their rooms. Please share your experience of seeing Krishna in deities. Everybody has such an experience. You just see Krishna, that's it. That's what Prabhupada used to say, it's very simple. You just realize Krishna, that's it. Or do you want to hear how Krishna twinkled his eye at me from the altar? There wasn't such a thing. There wasn't such a thing. The rest is very unobjective, so nobody will tell you that. In fact, you hear deities. You just don't pay attention to that. You always listen, you always hear Krishna in your heart. You always see him. But your mind entangles you. It happens all the time. It's you are the part of God, but your mind, no. When you get calm, when you stop doubting everything, you will have this understanding. These things are evident. You don't have to compare yourself to Yashoda mother. Please don't do this. You will never understand this, Lila. It's very good that you think of her, but just don't compare yourself to Yashoda. Compare yourself to a demon. Say that you are not decent to step onto the land of Vrindavana. Please get liberated from that false ego. Is there a difference for a soul that has a left body? In what way will her body be buried? Is there any difference?
Нет, это не абсолютное правило, что не может. Это от Кришны зависит. В обычном смысле, кармическом смысле, да, есть законы, но Кришна это высший закон. Для преданных я не думаю, что это настолько существенный фактор.
I don't think it's so important for devotees, although it helps. Cremation is the best way, of course. Everything can happen, of course. Some elevated souls are in samadhis. Srila Prabhupada, for example. In our conditions, we make a tomb. And Krishna consciousness has different meaning. Yes. Well, cremation is favorable for everybody, devotees and non-devotees. Sometimes we cannot break the laws, the customs of the place we live, and we cannot get cremation. Our relatives are against, but we have to think of Krishna.
Бхишма не мог. Натомный Бхишма. Он не мог это делать. Так же, как Карна не мог.
Bhishma couldn't do that. That's because he was Krishna. Just as Karna couldn't do that. When it turned out that he was Pandava's brother, he was the sixth Pandava. He could have been the eldest. Even that was offered to him. But as a Kshatriya, he couldn't break the vow. Duryodhana was his friend. So what was he supposed to do? This is how it goes. We cannot do everything being devotees. Krishna admired that. Bhishma Deva too. It's a subtle question. We cannot surrender to Krishna out of feeling of, out of desire of material choice. Material thinking is rather rude. These subtle energies and karma are shown in Mahabharata. Namely, this elevates person. Slowly he gets elevated to the level when he can surrender to Krishna. Not everybody can do that, but Gopi, they can do it. Even Akrura couldn't do that. Not everything, he cannot do everything. Somebody is attached to getting some glory. He serves Krishna, but at the same time he wants glory. So he goes to the material world to get a great glory by preaching Krishna consciousness. So don't make it equal. Try to understand these subtle moments. Try to understand yourself. We are devotees, but we still have some desires. We need to perform, make them true. We have to make them true with Krishna. Any woman comes to ISKCON, she wishes to create a family. But then she wants to connect this all to Krishna. Isn't it so? Now she wants a house where everything is offered to Krishna, where there is a nice altar. But there are gopis where everything is different. That's why they are born in that place. They are born in that place. But we have to engage our desires in Krishna consciousness. While you elevate your consciousness, you become equal to gopis inside. Using this body with its desires, with its karma, with everything as it is, you can reach the spiritual body. That's why you just follow your way, just calmly, confidently, decisively. Why Krishna speaks like the first person, like I in Bhagavad Gita, and sometimes in third person as he. Sometimes he's in the role of friend, and sometimes he's in the role of God. So he's in different moods and in different relationships. Sometimes he speaks of Brahman. Then he says, like, calm down, we are close friends with you. Here I am. Different names are used for Krishna and for Arjuna because they perform different roles. I'm the one, but I will become many. Please tell me, how can I help him? He's very worried about everything. Women are always worried about everything. If you get married, you have to understand that you will always live with somebody in worried. Don't expect her to become a man. She marries why? To have a man right beside her. To accept all of her worries. As soon as you become firm in your practice, she becomes defended by your belief. If it's a chastise wife, of course, if she is faithful, then you just move forward in a spiritual sense and she will share everything with you. Okay, this side, please.